You can be seated. Good afternoon and welcome to this induction ceremony for the Boston College chapter of Alpha Sigma Nu, the Honor Society of Jesuit Colleges and Universities. My name is Tomeu Estelric, and I am the director of the Center for Ignatian Spirituality and the faculty advisor of Boston College chapter of Alpha Sigma Nu. Alpha Sigma Nu, the Honor Society of Jesuit Institution of Higher Education, is a dynamic fellowship of lifetime leaders dedicated to Ignatian vision and values in the highest edition of the 450-year Jesuit mission in Catholic higher education. An invitation to be inducted into Alpha Sigma Nu is one of the very highest honors a Jesuit institution confers upon a student. As a unique honor society, Alpha Sigma Nu carries a profound mission. Alpha Sigma Nu recognizes those students who distinguish themselves in scholarship, loyalty, and service. The only honor society permitted to bear the name Jesuit, Alpha Sigma Nu encourages its members to a lifetime pursuit of intellectual development, deepening Ignatian spirituality, service to others, and a commitment to the core principles of Jesuit education. Founded in 1915, Alpha Sigma Nu is an international organization with chapters at all 27 Jesuit colleges and universities in the United States, at Sogang University in Korea, at Campion and Regis colleges in Canada, at Loyola Andalucía in Spain, and at Universidad del Pacífico in Peru. The name Alpha Sigma Nu signifies the Greek words Adelphotes Scholastikon Nikephoron, meaning the company of honor students. The key of the society bears the three Greek letters together with the seal of the Society of Jesus. On the reverse is inscribed the institution name and date of induction. The Alpha Sigma Nu colors are maroon and gold. The invitation to membership in Alpha Sigma Nu has been based upon the journey you began on the first day you matriculated at Boston College. This ceremony celebrates your dedication to Alpha Sigma Nu's values: scholarship, loyalty, and service. Now, allow me to introduce University President Father William Leahy of the Society of Jesus, who will lead us in an opening prayer.
I invite you to stand. Lord our God, as we gather for this Alpha Sigma Nu induction ceremony, we pause to acknowledge and celebrate the many ways you have blessed these students being honored today, and to give thanks and praise, especially for their scholarship and pursuit of knowledge to help make our world better and more at peace, loyalty and desire to live as men and women known for integrity, and commitment to service and generosity of heart. Lord, we pray that today this ceremony reminds all of us present this afternoon in the Church of St. Ignatius of Loyola about the mission, culture, and heritage of Boston College and Jesuit education. May we see more clearly that you are present in our lives and the world around us, and trust evermore in your providence and care. We ask all of this through Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, God, forever and ever. Amen.
Good afternoon. My name is Jackson Claflin, class of 2025, and I have the honor of serving this year as chapter president. These three standards, scholarship, loyalty, and service, are the core of Alpha Sigma Nu, but they are only powerful when translated into action. Each of you is working towards this goal in your own way, both in and out of the classroom, on and off the campus. Your ongoing commitment to the ideals of Alpha Sigma Nu may evolve as your situations become increasingly diverse. Together, you are a strong community of leaders devoted to scholarship, loyalty, and service. While membership spans state and country borders, what brings the society together is its distinct Jesuit identity, and each member's continuous striving towards the magis, a desire to reach further, dig deeper, and go beyond what is expected. New inductees join the community of Alpha Sigma Nu members who commit their imagination and energy to address the needs and concerns of the world around them. Allow me to introduce our Vice President and Director of Programming, Anastasia Copeland, class of 2025, to explain the criterion of scholarship.
Scholarship is the most important qualification for membership in Alpha Sigma Nu, as this tenet reflects the primary purpose of higher education. True scholarship, however, runs deeper than a high grade point average or the mastery of information and specialized knowledge. Alpha Sigma Nu recognizes those persons as scholars who possess a depth of comprehension and a breadth of knowledge. Alpha Sigma Nu honors those students who have a passion for knowledge, the world of ideas, and critical analysis. The true scholar realizes that education and knowledge are lifelong pursuits, but never loses touch or contact with the world beyond the library or the classroom. Through a balanced integration of experiences, the scholar advances in both knowledge and wisdom. Humility is a true mark of scholars who continue to develop their intellectual gifts with the awareness that they pursue a standard set by God, who alone is wise. Allow me to introduce Grace Wagner, Chapter Secretary and Director of Service and Mission, Class of 2025, to explain the criterion of loyalty.
The search for wisdom is also a search for truth. The vision of St. Ignatius Loyola is that the purpose of Jesuit education is to lead students to the knowledge and love of God. Thus, membership in Alpha Sigma Nu is a lifelong vocation, not merely a scholastic honor. You, as Jesuit-educated individuals, are called to make and live out a lifelong personal commitment to the moral and social values of the gospel. Inspired by the vision and the values of the Society of Jesus and the teachings of its superiors general, you, as new members of Alpha Sigma Nu, are invited to further develop a depth of thought and imagination in the Ignatian tradition that will transform your minds and your hearts. You'll become collaborators with the Society of Jesus in the service of faith and the promotion of justice, with a special care for the marginalized and the poor. To be loyal to these ideals means developing a deep sense of decency and responsibility to truth and justice. It will always entail personal integrity, as well as an abiding effort to advance the good of society and the well-being of all. Allow me to introduce Chapter Treasurer and Director of Outreach, Nicole Rausa, class of 2025, who will speak about the standard of service in Alpha Sigma Nu.
The third of the standards, which were the basis for your selection, is service. St. Ignatius has said that love is shown in deeds, not merely in words. And so service to others is an integral part of the philosophy of Jesuit education and thus of Alpha Sigma Nu. Knowledge should not exist in a vacuum. It should be used to build up and ennoble the world in which we live. This is why a distinguished academic record is not sufficient to warrant admission to Alpha Sigma Nu. There must be a proven dimension of willing and generous service to others. This is demonstrated by giving freely of time and talent to the larger community. Alpha Sigma Nu expects its members to translate ideals into actions as lifelong leaders and contributors to the building of a just and decent world. Now, Jackson will lead us in reciting the Alpha Sigma Nu Pledge.
Would those students who are to be inducted into Alpha Sigma Nu please stand if you are able. Please join me in reciting the Alpha Sigma Nu Pledge that is found in your program. After reading the pledge, please remain standing for your formal induction by Father Leahy. As a member of Alpha Sigma Nu, I promise to do everything in my power to carry out the ideals of scholarship, loyalty, and service. I promise to be committed to intellectual integrity and the pursuit of wisdom. I promise to be loyal to the moral, social, and religious ideals of my education. I promise to be genuinely committed to the well-being of others and active in serving them. I will do all this in light of the Jesuit concern for the greater and glory of God.
As president of Boston College, and in the name of the Alpha Sigma Nu Board of Directors, I formally declare that the candidates presented at this ceremony to be members of Alpha Sigma Nu. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our newly inducted Alpha Sigma Nu members. Please be seated. Will Dean Gregory Kalsher please introduce the inducted students from the Morrissey College of Arts and Sciences?
Good afternoon. I'm Father Gregory Kalsher, Dean of the Morrissey College of Arts and Sciences. Father Leahy, with great pride and pleasure, I present to you the following students of the Morrissey College of Arts and Sciences who have been accepted as members of Alpha Sigma Nu, the Honor Society of Jesuit Institutions of Higher Education. Jason Adams. Olivia Adeo. Jared Imone. Carly Amendelare. Joseph Baldwin. Kathleen Beauvais is abroad. Lauren Benz is abroad. Morgan Blakely is abroad. Charlie Burke is abroad. Sophia Camby. Christine Can. Eleanor Carey. Ella Chang. Udam Chang is abroad. Bryce Cherry. Emily Conroy. Atticus Crothers. Angela DeToma. Cecilia De La Fuente. Emily Dodley. Olivia DiRenzo is abroad. Claire Donnelly. Caitlin Dulé. Isabella Egan. Garrett Eichlin. Ethan Erickson is abroad. Regina Finn is abroad. Davina Finney. Bodie Michael Flanagan. Jack Francis. Anna Garrity. Joshua Gorniak. Nicholas Hernandez. Lily Hillis is abroad. Emily Hiltunen. Nicholas Humpfner. Samik Jain is abroad. Elliot Jones. Nora Kenny is abroad. Kira Kierstad is abroad. Gretchen Kimmel. Margaret Kuntz. Grace Leuenberger. Mia Malouf. Molly Maher. Lucian Mahoney is abroad. Ella McKee is abroad. Eleanor McSwain. Claire Mengel is abroad. Ryan Milligan. Mary Moran. Marcel Mario Sáenz. Joseph Murphy. John O'Keefe. Aubrey Organ. Catherine Osborne. Alexandra Oswald is abroad. Carolyn Oswit is abroad. Abigail Pare. Lily Park. Amy Parkinson. Seamus Pugh is abroad. Kelsey Regan. Isabel Sophia Reichert. Solil Reppel. Sarah Regati. Elise Rod is abroad. Kian Rosenblum. Sofia Rugova. Caroline Sally is abroad. Curran Shestag. Mackenzie Shea. Colton Simon is abroad. Savannah Soule. Claire Stella is abroad. Caroline Sullivan. Aisvarya Silbert. Zemo Jasmine Tang. Lily Tull is abroad. Hannah Vogeli. Carl Webe. Le Yu. Antonio Silvetti. Congratulations to you all.
Will Senior Associate Dean Ethan Sullivan please introduce the inducted students from the Carroll School of Management?
Good afternoon. I am Ethan Sullivan, Senior Associate Dean for Undergraduates in the Carroll School of Management. Father Leahy, with great pride and pleasure, I present to you the following students of the Carroll School of Management who have been accepted as members of Alpha Sigma Nu, the Honor Society of Jesuit Institutions of Higher Education. Stephen Alt. Matthew Biamonte. Jane Commons is abroad. Charlie Coughlin is abroad. Jack Desmond is abroad. Samuel Dunn. Chelsea Frampton. Lila Grew is abroad. Adam Hassanian is abroad. Timothy Hayes. Daniela Hernando Krakow is abroad. Dongjae Wang. Lily Zhang. Jaden Lee. Isabella Lees. Timothy Hai Liu is abroad. Anna Marshall. Ava Montpetit is abroad. Shay Morley is abroad. Joey Nassar. Salvatore Nuzzo. Haley Pataki. Patrick Reddy. Sarah Robert. William Rutherford is abroad. Patrick Schwab is abroad. Michael Sciarra. Charlie Sifredo. Juliana Simoes is abroad. Ian Wasserman is abroad. Melissa Yao is abroad. And Esther Zhang is abroad. Congratulations, Carroll School members.
Will Associate Dean Colleen Simonelli please introduce the inducted students from the Cannell School of Nursing?
Good afternoon. I'm Colleen Simonelli, the Associate Dean for Student Services in the Cannell School of Nursing. Father Leahy, it is with great pride and pleasure that I present to you the following students of the Cannell School of Nursing who have been accepted as members of the Alpha Sigma Nu, the Honor Society of Jesuit Institutions of Higher Education. Amelia Coleman. Anna Herman. Claire Rivers is abroad. and Piper Vogel is abroad. Congratulations, my Canal School.
Will Dean Stanton Wortham please introduce the inducted students from the Lynch School of Education and Human Development?
Good afternoon. I'm Dean Stanton Wortham of the Lynch School of Education and Human Development. Father Leahy, with great pride and pleasure, I present to you the following students of the Lynch School of Education and Human Development who have been accepted as members of Alpha Sigma Nu, the Honor Society of Jesuit Institutions of Higher Education. Ellen Feeney. Kayla Fernandez. Maya Han DuPont. Carly Lermond. Hannah McLeod. Mackenzie Mercier. Sophia Mikula is abroad. Benjamin Stone. Mia Vitiello is abroad. Emily Wallen. Emily Czar. Congratulations to you all.
Will Dean David Goodman please introduce the inducted students from the Woods School of Advancing Studies?
Good afternoon. I'm David Goodman, Dean of the Woods College of Advancing Studies. Father Leahy, with great pride and pleasure, I present to you the following students from the Woods College of Advancing Studies who have been accepted as members of the Alpha Sigma Nu, the Honor Society of Jesuit Institutions of Higher Education. Ryan Dumas, Brandon Swan, congratulations to these Woods College students.
Every year, Alpha Sigma Nu recognizes a Boston College professor with the Teacher of the Year award. The officers of Alpha Sigma Nu annually seek student submissions and recommendations to determine who warrants this award. This year, students have elected Professor Brian Robinette from the Theology Department. I invite one of his students, Elliot Jones, up to the stage to read his recommendation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elliot Jones, and I'm a philosophy student in Morrissey College of Arts and Sciences. Today I have the honor of presenting Professor Brian Robinette, Professor of Theology, with the Alpha Sigma Nu Teacher of the Year Award. I owe my ability of attention, prayer, and self-reflection to Professor Robinette in his class Spiritual Exercises, which included not just theoretical study, but also practical exercises of repose of mind. His own life as shared at a halftime retreat is emblematic of finding God in all things, whether in prayer, walks in nature, or neighborhoods, friends and family, or the methodical sweeping of a mop in a church basement. He is also committed to service to his students. I remember on one occasion a friend and I wanted to attend a lecture by the French philosopher Jean-Luc Marion, hosted at Harvard. We as freshmen, of course, didn't have cars and would not have made it on time if we had taken public transit. Professor Robinette kindly offered to drive us there and back, as well as attending the lecture and offering his insights to our confusion. His corner office in Stokes is always a place of comfort, insight, and laughs, often starting with conversations on class content, and then entering into the deepest the deepest questions of human existence. On campus, you will often see Professor Robinette lost in thought, perhaps thinking about his next book, who at the slightest notice can suddenly be fully attuned to your presence, attentive to the moment at hand, and the other in front of him. Professor Robinette wholeheartedly encompasses the Alpha Sigma Nu values of scholarship, loyalty to Jesuit values, and service, and teaches his students how to do the same. Thank you, Professor, and congratulations.
Elliot, you will never know what your words mean to me, but you know enough, and you have blessed me immeasurably with them. I remember well your first semester at BC, that freshman class, and you in that freshman class. You were wide-eyed, earnest, ready to learn, and venturing upon an unprecedented period of growth in your life. I also remember my third semester of college at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee, 1991. I was a sophomore taking a core literature course. Thank God for the liberal arts. We were reading poets, novelists, and essayists of the Victorian age. Maybe it was the particular set of readings that semester. Maybe it was the charisma and skill of my professor, Annette Sisson. Maybe it was the turbulence within me needing catalyst and form. Whatever the conditions, and no doubt it was all of these together, I experienced the classroom as a life-altering event. I had been swept up by Thomas Hardy, especially his poetry and novels concerning human freedom, or more precisely, its lack. Elaborating a tragic vision of life, Hardy looked squarely at the fateful character of human existence, particularly those features producing suffering, and was trying to come to terms with a world bereft of God. I was riveted, though his vision also frightened me, mainly because I suspected its truth. Still, reading Hardy opened up a floodgate of existential questions welling up in me. Are human beings really free? Do we have free will, or are we determined by circumstance, by fate? But more, where does suffering come from? And can anything be done about it? Must we endure the tragedy of life with stoic resignation? Or is it within our power to transform it? And what might we hope for ultimately when there is no God to save us? These are weighty questions, among the biggest we can ask. But for as universal as these questions may be, they had become grippingly personal for me. I had been gashed and felt I was becoming a different person. I was waking up from slumber, and my questions were like the smelling salts. What doubled my astonishment was that there was a place to ask these questions. There was a classroom. There was a teacher. There were fellow students. There were texts, a curriculum, an institution. I had ventured into an educational setting, the college classroom, where it was possible to explore these questions with rigor in conversation with others, including persons long past. It struck me then, it still strikes me now, as a tremendous luxury. Here was a place and time of life when I could give these questions my full attention and perhaps be changed as a result. Well, change came. Within weeks, I changed my major from music business to English literature. A would-be rock and roll drummer, now a would-be college professor. These changes did not occur all at once. There was the shift to philosophy, then to the philosophy of religion, then a quarter-life crisis requiring change in occupation, then theology in graduate school. It turns out I couldn't quite get away from the God question. But all the while, I knew I wanted to become a teacher. I knew I wanted to pursue these questions for a lifetime, to help others pursue the biggest questions possible, to develop skills to facilitate a discovery process and become a model for others so that they too might have the courage to ask the biggest and even scariest questions imaginable. And because the question of God simply is the biggest question one can ask, I was virtually bound, though not fated, to become a theologian and teach theology to undergraduates, returning to the place where I first started to awaken, there to hold smelling salts for others. Teaching undergraduates is without question what I most relish about my vocation as a professor. I love the writing and research. I love teaching and mentoring graduate students. And I love having the opportunity to build and sustain the institution. But there is nothing I love more than entering into the classroom, looking into the faces of my students, sensing their hopes, their fears, and inspiring in them the love of the question, the love of wisdom, and the love of a life given to us by God to serve one another with all that we learn. This is the essence of Jesuit education. No one teaches alone. There are mentors, colleagues, and in my case, a loving family present with me here today. My wife, Krista, who went with me to college. My oldest son, Trevor, a junior here at Boston College. And Austin, a senior in high school who will land on a college campus in just a few months. I am grateful to them, as well as so many others, staff and administration, who help make this institution what it is. But I must give special thanks to my students like Elliot Jones, who have helped me become the teacher I've long aspired to be. It is really the open hearts and minds of my students that keep me alive to the questions we pursue in the classroom, always as though for the first time. It is on your behalf, my students, all of whom I can genuinely say I love, that I accept this award. Thank you for allowing me to live out this vocation, now 22 years in the making, with the same joy I experienced when I was a student. Just like you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Robinet, for your words. Your passion for teaching and service in the classroom and beyond has surely made a lasting impact on our students and the university. And now, I invite University President Father William Leahy of the Society of Jesus to address the new cohort.
Thank you, Tomeo, and I do appreciate this opportunity to say a few words on this grand occasion. We've just heard from Dr. Robinette about how enlivening and inspiring his life has been as a teacher, and so much of that comes from his students and his family. And as we're here congratulating and honoring new inductees into Alpha Sigma Nu, we also have a chance to thank them for their efforts, their labors as human beings developing their talents, as individuals who have been part of Boston College. And we also know that they come because of the efforts of family, parents, grandparents, siblings, teachers, friends. And we are here today because we know how important human communication, human relationships are. And it's important that we give thanks for those individuals who have been so important in our lives. And I'd like to invite our new Alpha Sigma inductees to join me standing and turn and thank your family members who are here, because without them, you wouldn't be the individuals that you are. So thank you, parents, grandparents, family, siblings, for enabling these students of Boston College to become members of Alpha Sigma Nu. Thank you. We live in a time in our world in which there is a great deal of disruption, a great deal of change, whether it's in the Ukraine, the violence in the Middle East, what's going on in parts of Africa, and even in our own nation. Those times remind me about the importance of individuals who are serious about developing their gifts, who grasp the importance of knowledge, who care about loyalty, and who engage in service. That's why this induction ceremony is an important part of the Boston College culture. We honor, we recognize people who pursue knowledge, who clearly are loyal to values, and who give of themselves. And as we do that, it takes me back to the founding principles of Roman Catholicism, Christianity, and Jesuit education. We Jesuits opened our first school in Messina, Sicily in 1548. And we did that because the leaders in that community wanted to have the opportunity for their young people to learn, to develop their gifts, and then in response, to give those gifts to others. We are involved in a great work of education. And when you hear Dr. Robinette talk about what his life has been like and understand the importance that students play in his life, that is certainly a reminder to all of us about the great value that there is in education, especially education during a time of change. We live in a world that is experiencing great change. And as we live in that world, it's critical that we maintain our sense of hope, that we do not give in to our fears, and that we resolve to do our part to help make our world better. Doing that requires that we see life as it is. In the Christian community, today is the second Sunday of Lent. And in the gospel, there is a story of a man who is blind and he wants to see. That's a great desire, to want to see. He wanted physical sight. We need the kind of insight to see well. We need to be people who have an appreciation of the world around us, who not only see well, but who act. And that's what Alpha Sigma Nu reminds us about scholarship, about loyalty, and service. We come today to recognize the contributions of these students and also urge them to use their gifts to help make our world better. Going all the way back to Messina, Sicily in 1548, the first Jesuit school, to Boston College, and to the whole network of Jesuit higher education. That's what we're about. The test of our schools is what do our graduates accomplish in life? And they accomplish a lot. They do it because they're not alone. They have family and friends who support and who at times challenge. Today is a reminder about all of that, about that mission, culture, and heritage. So I'm grateful that so many are here today in this church to be present when we induct new members to Alpha Sigma Nu, and hopefully we also rededicate ourselves to being people whose lives are marked by faith, hope, and love. Thank you.
Alpha Sigma Nu recognizes in these new inductees the greatness of a scholarship in their past achievements and of their future scholarship yet to come. We honor them because they have been loyal to ideals that make the world a better place. We celebrate their service to other people, helping others to grow and know what love can do. For love ought to be found more in deeds than in words. Since 1548, Jesuits have been involved with the schools. When pressed to explain why they were staffing schools, Ignatius, the founder of the Society of Jesus, in 1551 commissioned Polanco, his secretary, to write to Father Aroth, the provincial superior of Spain, a letter on the manners and purpose of Jesuit colleges. I quote, "From among those who are now merely students, in time, some will depart to play diverse roles, some to preach and carry on the care of souls, another to government of the land and the administrations of justice, and others to responsible educations. Finally, since young people become the adults of tomorrow, their good education in life and doctrine will be beneficial to many others, with the fruit expanding more widely every day." End of quote. If Ignatius were here today, in a building which bears his name, Ignatius would recognize in these new inductees those qualities and benefits to many others that Polanco wrote about so long ago. As the moderator of the Alpha Sigma Nu chapter here at Boston College, I am very grateful to the many people who have made it possible to gather in this church and celebrate the accomplishments of these young men and women. I want to add a particular thank you to Father William Leahy and the deans whose leadership of this great university encourages scholarship and service to many in this city, this nation, and beyond. To all of you, thank you. I want to thank Professor Brian Robinette for his wise words today and the continuing service to his students. We're very lucky to have such professors that share their gifts and life with us. I want to thank all the parents, family members, and friends of the new inductees who have traveled to celebrate this day with us. Thank you for coming. I would also like to thank all the parents, family members, and friends of the new inductees who have joined us virtually. So thanks for tuning in. I want to thank the current officers of Alpha Sigma Nu, Jackson, Anastasia, Grace, and Nicole, for their leadership and service here at Boston College. And I want to thank Victoria Garcia, Assistant Director of Intersections, for helping to coordinate the Alpha Sigma Nu chapter and the induction ceremony today. So thank you all. To our new inducted members, please join us at our next events. The 2025 last lecture, delivered by Professor David Toomey, Carroll School of Management, on Wednesday, April 10th at 12 p.m. in Gasson 100. You will receive the details in your email soon, as well as an invitation to apply to serve on the executive board of this chapter next academic year. I would like to invite everyone to the Heights Room in Corcoran Commons, lower dining, on the second floor for a reception immediately following the ceremony, where students will also be able to pick up their Alpha Sigma Nu certificate and pin. Our induction service is now complete. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you.